So I'll explain a bit. It was a guy who was working on the railroad in the 1800s, specifically in 1848. He was working on the Vermont Railroad, and he was packing down explosives with his tamping iron. He accidentally sparked it too soon, and his tamping iron, which was this 3-foot rod, went in through one side of his head and out through the other side of his head and landed like 80 feet away. So it was 3 feet and about like 20 pounds. It was pretty large. And miraculously, this guy, Phineas Gage, survived this accident. But why he's so well known historically is because afterwards, not only did he survive, but he still led a somewhat fruitful life. He ended up getting another job in Chile as a stagecoach driver, but certain parts of him changed. So his personality and his impulse control changed, and other parts of him didn't change as much. So like his cognitive skills and his memory stayed somewhat the same. Back in the 1800s, there was these theories about the brain that there was people who were known as whole brainers. They thought every part of the brain, every neuron worked the exact same way. And there was other people who thought there was specialization within the brain, that different regions control different things. So Phineas Gage, because the bar specifically entered through his left frontal lobe, and afterwards he exhibited this very poor impulse control and behavioral change, people thought, well, maybe parts of personality are located there, whereas other parts, like the memory, are more scattered throughout the brain. So it was sort of a story that supported this idea that there was different parts of the brain that controlled different functions. And that was how we sort of figured that out. And then later on, the way people figured it out was more through like looking at people who had tumors and strokes in different parts of the brain and what changed and what didn't change. And eventually, it was more through the technology we have now with fMRIs and things like that. So this song is called Phineas Gage.